Hello everybody, my name is Crow3893 and this is Nicktoons Attack of the Toybots. Today I'll be showing you guys any percent, the main category for this game of completing the game as fast as possible. So before I get started, I just want to give a quick shout out to a certain runner. His name is Schnurt. He was originally going to start commentating with me, but unfortunately couldn't join. So today I'll be doing some solo commentary. Other than that, you're probably wondering, what is this game doing in Obscur-a-thon? Because this game isn't really that too obscure. Well, casually wise, it really isn't because it's about the Nicktoons characters. Speedrunning wise, however, it kind of is obscure in my opinion. So, a little bit of a history about this game. So, this is the third game in the Nicktoons Unite series, released in 2007 for the PlayStation 2 and Nintendo Wii. I'm going to be playing the Wii version because that's faster load times, and there's not much of a difference with both versions. Other than that, the game has some very interesting tricks and glitches used throughout the run to help beat this game way quicker than intended. So, I'm going to go ahead and get started right here. Fortunately, we have some auto-saving, which has to be dealt with. Alright, so my timer is currently at minus 16.9. The reason is because there's going to be a load screen right here, and it actually starts on the first loading screen when time starts. But because we have this, we have an automated timer for when it starts, so we're going to have to wait a little bit more. Alright, but in the meantime, I suggest that you all get ready because this is going to be one heck of a speed run. So, here we go in 3, 2, 1, go! Alright, so we're going to be entering into the first level of the game, which is Bikini Bottom. So, this level is very different compared to Bikini Bottom in the average SpongeBob series. We're in this factory right here, and the reason we're in this factory is because Patrick and SpongeBob were delivering 3,287 Krabby Patties. And the problem with that was that the robots were actually, there were some robots that stole a bunch of the Krabby Patties. And now we're currently trying to rescue Patrick because while SpongeBob and Patrick are trying to stop them, they ended up taking Patrick, and now SpongeBob is disguised as a robot right here. And this is actually one of the first tricks I'm currently doing. So I'm doing this very long jump with my rolls after I'm rolling off of a platform. This is actually called roll cancel, and it's a tech that we're going to be using throughout the entire run. So the way it works is whenever you roll off of something or like just anything throughout this game, having momentum can actually be stored into jumps, and rolling is one of the examples. So because we don't have any coyote frames, we're able to just roll infinitely and have our jumps forever, while our rolling speed is still stored whenever we have the neutral stick, the analog stick in its neutral position. And it's very helpful to make us go across larger gaps, and it's very interesting. So right there I was actually going for a really neat trick. So this was recently found, and just for a little showcase, SpongeBob can T-pose. So, never in this game has it been found recently, but apparently we can grab enemies and throw them, and it's apparently super buggy because right there SpongeBob was able to T-pose. It was probably a very rushed and last developed thing because it was never mentioned anywhere else, not even the manuals themselves. So right here we're just going to continue onwards, and we are now done in this factory. And here's a cutscene, well actually another one actually. And we saved Patrick, but not only that, we also met Tack and Timmy Turner, and now we're currently entering inside Factory Zones, which right here it says Evil Toy Co. Factory Zone 1. This is the first factory that we're going to be entering in, and I'll go more into explanation about that later on. For now, I just want to explain about the story. So, the main villain of the Jimmy Neutron series, Professor Calamitous, he is currently trying to win the Biggest Genius Award, and he's doing that by using Krabby Patties, fairies, and ghost energy. And each of them, we're going to be stopping him from using either of those things throughout the run. So right now, we just stopped him from using any more Krabby Patties. Now we're going to try and just trying to find them. Oh, I just did a cutscene skip right there. That was kind of close. It's a tough one to get because of the angles. All right, so coming up here is actually a really, really nifty trick. So I'm going to be tricking the game into thinking that I'm in an earlier part of the level, because you can, by hitting certain checkpoint triggers, you can actually cause the later part of the game to deload. Well, some parts of the game to deload, which will leave off their collision, but you're still able to hit certain triggers. So such as right here. So here it comes right here. I'm going to be entering. There we go. So right there, I entered in Gur's master model level. So if you're curious how this works, so I reset it on invisible platforms. I rolled back, and then right there when that happened, I ended up deloading the later part of the level. And doing this actually caused it tricked the game into thinking that I was just in the other part. And there was normally like a pipe right there, and it would block me from hitting the trigger. However, because it was gone, I was able to enter in, and I was able to now do Gur's master model level without him. Because these levels are actually character required levels. So right there was with Gur's, and because we don't get Gur until way later in the game, it just gives us that extra time save because he's one of the last characters we unlock in the entire game. So now here we're going inside of a master model chamber. Now this is still continuing on with the Invader Zim stuff. So of course this is heavily inspired off of Invader Zim, and we're going against these enemies that we normally are supposed to go against later on in the game, but they're very tough. They're called blocks, and they are a pain to deal with, in my opinion. They deal the most damage. They can actually stun lock you in certain times, and it's very difficult. What's very cool about this chamber is that you can actually defeat the enemies much quicker by shooting them off to the floor, or by having them fall. It's kind of tough to make except for that second option, but it's very cool. Also, right there, I skipped a little bit of an animation by jumping through the side of the portal, right, or like inside the pipe, rather than on the pipe directly, because there's an animation where you get sucked up, but I just jumped it to hit the trigger to save a little bit of time.
I've got some glue for you.
So in that game right there, I just collected the first master model, which is the main collectible in this game. We need to collect 9 of them in order to complete the rest of the game, and we've only gotten 1, but we're going to be collecting out 8 other quick ones that are going to be used. So right here, we're going to be doing some more roll cancels, abusing the property of being able to just skip the game much earlier than intended, and just skipping certain parts. Thankfully, does not lead to most soft locks, which is very good. Another thing to mention is that these characters also have a lot of dialogue throughout parts of the gameplay. And now here comes another skip. So I'm currently supposed to be Jenny, but there's an invisible platform right here. And by double jumping, I can barely reach the trigger, and I'm now in Jenny's master model level much earlier than intended. Jenny's another character who you don't get until way later in the game. And I'm also being careful with these lasers, and I'm shooting my goo right here, and I'm doing a trick called goo stalling, where you're stuck in the air, and I'm actually avoiding those lasers because even though the lasers look very small, they have a very big hitbox, and they can deal a lot of damage to you and respawn you to the very beginning. So it's just to avoid that pain, I just do that for safety. So now we're going to head back into another master model chamber to collect another master model. We're going to be collecting Mr. Glick from Cat Scratch. Now, the master models are of other various Nicktoons characters who are not playable. Some are, some aren't, and it's very good. Ooh, that was a very good chamber. That was a really good chamber. So I'm just going to be doing the same thing. Jump right here, slam on this bounce pad, and collect the master model. There we go. So this game is really just a simple collect-a-thon kind of. You just go in, collect certain master models, but it's because it's with the character required levels, but we're actually abusing it and not doing it with that needed character. Oh, dang it. So we're basically doing it without many of the characters needed. Oh, I was at a bad angle right there. Dang. Right, let's see if this goes. Nice. So right here, I'm just gonna jump this, skip a little bit of some extra movement. Now, I should mention this. So, I mentioned earlier about the factory zone. So this is currently factory zone 1. Well, there's 3 factory zones. Zone 1, zone 2, and zone 3. The difference is with, well actually, like, the thing with all of them is that they all have 2 parts. So there's part 1 and part 2. So right here, this is currently factory zone 1 part 1. And we're going to be entering into factory zone 1 part 2. You may have also saw right there a little image of SpongeBob on the top left. I had to skip that one because even though right there was his master model, it's actually the slowest one in the entire game. And I'm going to go for a funny strat right here. I got it. Alright, so you can actually hit the end of the, you can actually hit the trigger right there to finish the rest of the level, rather than having to go inside of a pipe, but it's slower, but I just wanted to show it off because this is a marathon after all. So now we're going to be entering into Factory Zone 1 Part 2. Still looks like Zone 1, but we have this cutscene of Jimmy Neutron, and we technically saved him. However, we have not unlocked him yet, so we don't get him until the very end of this level, and that's actually going to be way later in the game, or well, way later in this run actually, and there's a reason why, so I'll get more into that. So right here, just going to do some little like short movements, and then using my roll cancel. And right here comes a very, very amazingly interesting trick. So I need to focus on this real quick. Got it first try. Okay, so that's called ACS. So in this chamber, I'm supposed to be Patrick. But what's very interesting about most of the chambers, so their triggers are barely on the top of the pipe, or like where an invisible wall is at that blocks any other character from entering. But I mentioned earlier about how momentum can be stored in with jumps. So even not only can rolling speed be stored in, but also there's like a little bit of some wind that pushes you upwards. And by timing a jump, you can go up a bit higher, that you'll go up much faster to the point you'll be barely above the invisible wall. And by spamming the jump button, you'll easily hit the trigger and you'll enter in the level. And because of this, especially with Patrick's, I was able to skip the bottom section by landing on an invisible platform that was on top of the wall because it still had its excess collision outside. So SpongeBob decided to be a helpful friend and do Patrick's Master Model Chamber without him. So it's going to be the same thing, completing the enemies, well, just defeating the enemies from the chamber. Again, having to deal with blocks. Thankfully, this is going to be the last time we're going to be dealing with these enemies because we're going to be dealing with some other ones who you saw right here called the Mr. Huggles, which are the pink little teddy bears. Alright, so right here, I switched to Tack, and there's a reason why. We're actually going to be doing his Master Model level, and we're going to be doing it with him. Sorry, I had to take a quick sip of water. Friendly reminder, stay hydrated. So I'm just going to be continuing onwards with this level, and we're going to be making it onto Tack's Master Model level because his is just right here. So we'll be doing some quick movements, using some roll cancels. Oh nice, I skipped the pipe right there. I skipped a little bit of an entrance, so it's pretty cool. Now right here comes Tax. And we're going to be entering in with the power of Juju. And here's a cutoff. He calls upon this run. Alright, so here we go. We're going to be doing a very, very unique skip. Right here. Okay, so right there, I jumped in between those two little platforms, and I barely made it through. And the reason I did this was to actually deload and to actually avoid a load trigger, which causes this part of the level to deload. And now I can just do this. I can go out of bounds. Now, not only am I able to go out of bounds, I have full movement, and that's actually a very interesting thing with out of bounds in this game. So the way out of bounds works is whenever a character actually reaches a certain value on the lower part, as a failsafe, the game wraps them up, but we're still able to have our full movement and our jumps with us. And by doing this, we're able to skip a lot, mainly also parts of levels as well, so such as right here. And this is actually very useful because this is the biggest out of bounds we're going to be doing in this level, which is essentially a wrong warp. We're going to be skipping half the level with this trick. So Tack's Master Model level. So Tack has one in Factory Zone 1, Factory Zone 2, and Factory Zone 3. Now, we were able to go out of bounds and go from Factory Zone 1 to Factory Zone 3. And that causes us to, we're basically tricking the game as to thinking that we're currently in Zone 3, even though it still thinks that we're in Zone 1. Oh, I missed the trigger. Let me try and do this real quick. Alright, there we go. So this was a very interesting skip to find at first, because another character that's playable in this game, Danny Phantom, his Master Model level is also similar to Tack's, where all three of them are connected in the same spot. However, the only difference is that we can't really go out of bounds in those ones. And this out of bounds was discovered several months ago, or well, almost a year ago, and the warp was found itself back in the October of 2021. Alright, be careful right here. Oh, dang it. I gotta make a cycle right here. Okay. Good. Nice. Alright, so we're just going to continue the level onwards to just progress forward. And this is a very big skip. Again, as I mentioned, skips almost half the game. But to give a further example of how much it skips 20 whole minutes. I'm not even kidding. It saves 20 minutes compared to the old any percent route. So it skips almost half the levels and a bunch of like excess movement and stuff, giving us just that extra time save. Oh, I had a lag spike right there. And there we go. We are now finished with Tax Master Model level, but we still have his chamber to do. We're going to go ahead and get prepared, because we're going to be dealing with some new enemies, quote unquote new. And by that I mean the Mr. Huggles, but some are going to be in the air. And they're actually different than the ones that are on the ground. So the ones on the ground have those green hammers, like this one right here. So those ones take 3 shots. However, the ones in the air actually take 5 shots, and they go into stun animation. Oh, what the heck? Oh, I'm not even... Oh, there we go. Oh, wow. That one was lower than normal. What the heck was that about? Oh, that one just sniped me. Okay, and then when they're actually in that animation, I can just have them go off screen, and the game will just make them disappear. Oh, dang it. I pressed the wrong button. I dropped my my input. All right, there we go. Oh, I missed it. Okay, there we go. Yeah, that trick's a little bit difficult to hit the trigger right there, but I try my best to hit it. So now we're currently entering into Factory Zone 3. We skipped Factory Zone 2 entirely, and the first half of Zone 3. So this is Zone 3 Part 2. And now we're just going to be continuing. So we're going to be continuing for 2 reasons. Number 1 is to actually take us back to the hub world, because even though we can, the game thinks that, because like the game still thinks that we're in Zone 1 Part 2, and we haven't completed it, so we haven't unlocked the ability to basically go back to the main hub world of the game. So that's what we're doing right now. And number 2 is we're going to be collecting 1 master model here, which is going to be very helpful. So here we're going to be destroying these generators, going to be doing 7 shots of goo. Or well, 6 shots. Oh, actually, yeah, 7 shots. I forgot. 7 shots of goo and a full melee attack, which is a pretty cool reference with SpongeBob. Oh, dang it. It's always best to be careful to avoid these, because if you get hit, you'll be checkpointed back to the very beginning. So you'll lose quite a bit of time. Okay, there we go. Yeah, get this one real quick. Oh man, this is a pain. These goo canisters are much difficult to get in this part of the level. There we go, got it. Okay, let me be careful right here. There we go. So we continue onwards. Alright, there we go. Gonna avoid this one again. And then it gets rid of a wall right here that prevents us from going forward. Now, there's a lot of combat sections in this game. However, they can just be easily skipped. You don't really have to do them, which is a benefit. Unfortunately, there are some that we do have to do, such as like the Master Model Chambers. But in the actual levels themselves, most of them can be skipped. However, some of them can't, and you actually have to do them. But we do several tricks to avoid them, such as checkpoint exploits, which I'll show off later as well. So we were being chased right there by a UFO, and there's actually a lot more interesting detail with the UFO and this level itself, because this is a space theme level, and I'll go more into explanation about it at the end of it, but we're going to be collecting this master model right here for Sam's, and we got the trick first try. So I mentioned earlier about how wind can suck you up. So apparently the wind can be accessible outside of the pipe just a little bit. And by having our jumps reset, we can do 2 double jumps and land on the side of the pipe on top. Double jump, just like in Jenny's, and hit the trigger on top. And this is very useful with this one, because this is the shortest master model, one of the shortest ones in the entire game. It's not the shortest one. Sam's second master model, well, her first one, which is in Factory Zone 2, is actually the fastest one in the entire game. So right here, we're back inside the chambers, destroying these Mr. Huggles up in the air. And then when they're in that stun animation, it's gonna go off screen. And now we're gonna be saving Ginger from My Life, or like Life Told by Ginger. There we go. So now from here, we're going to continue onwards to the end of Factory Zone 3. Just want to take some water real quick. Oh, that was scary. I'm going to have to wait a bit real quick to get a cycle. Oh, dang it, I missed it. There we go, and then I'm double jumping right here to avoid hitting the hitbox of one of those platforms. I'm going to do a checkpoint exploit right here to skip a combat phase. Skip 2 combats, saves a lot of time. Also, this green particle effect you're seeing on me, this is actually a speed boost, and it actually doubles our speed. So we're essentially going 8 times as fast when doing roll cancels, because rolling speed in this game is twice your running speed. And this doubles it, so instead of us going 4 times fast, we end up going almost 8 times as fast when we do roll cancels with it. Unfortunately, we don't really do much of them right now, but we will be doing them later on. So right here, we're going against these UFOs again, and we're going to get our revenge and shoot some goo at them. And now will actually be a good time to explain this. So you can see on the boxes in the back that it says Invaders, and going on with the space theme, and another Invader Zim reference, inside of those UFOs were actually Urkins. And I'm not even kidding. We found out in the concept and in the cutscenes that they mention about the Urkins, or well, it shows images of the Urkins, but they're not mentioned. But apparently they teamed up with Professor Calamitous, and it's unsure why. Better yet, why would they even kidnap Gur because they see him as like a dim-witted robot? Alright, so now we're going to be backtracking into Factory Zone 1 for 2 reasons. Collecting this master model for Timmy's, and to complete it to unlock Jimmy Neutron, because we're going to be using Jimmy Neutron in the run itself. So I'm going to be going past these cycles to avoid these gears. Alright. I'm going to avoid these Mr. Huggles. Unfortunately, I hit one of them. Alright, I'm doing another roll cancel here. And I'm going to do a really cool trick right here to skip some excess, the excess part of the level. Nice. So right there it's called box hopping. So whenever you jump on top of a character, they have just enough height, or like they have just enough of a hitbox that you actually have your jumps reset. And by fully double jumping, you can reach the top of the master model pipe, or like the fairy pipe right there, and you can actually skip the excess platforming that's supposed to happen at the end. So it saves almost 12 seconds, 10 seconds at most, and it's very, very useful. It was found by the current world record holder for this category, which is Broran. Shout out to him, very good runner. So we got this master model of Angelica Pickles, and now we're just going to continue onwards to complete Factory Zone 1. Because from here on out, we're going to be doing some backtracking, but it's still going to be very, very unique in my opinion. We'll be pressing onwards. Now, again, there are some combats right here. However, we can just easily bypass through them. We don't have to do anything, which... Thank you, Blue Tongue, the developers for this game. Shout out to Blue Tongue for making this and the first 3 games, making the first 3 games of the series, Unite and Battle for Volcano Island. And here comes a cool cutscene.
So, you see?
So now we just saved Jimmy Neutron, and we're going to be doing another trick right here. Well, not really a trick, but just an entrance. So I entered in Amity Park selection screen. So that's actually a level we never entered in. And the reason is because of 2 reasons. One is to unlock Danny and Sam. And number 2 is to prevent a crash that actually happens at the end of the level. So if I didn't do that, if I did not enter in the Amity Park selection screen and unlock Danny and Sam, it would have caused the game to crash at the end of the level when I tried to select the final level. Unfortunately, there's no way to really bypass through it. We're not sure why. Maybe it has to do with the fact that you have to unlock Danny and Sam, and they're both playable in that game, in that level as well. Speaking of which, here's Sam Manson, and we're going to be completing this. We're going to be doing her master model level, which is thankfully right here in the beginning. So again, doing some more roll cancels. Gonna enter here. We used to do this with ACS, however, it's not as fast and it's much more difficult because even getting it first try, it's not worth it because it saves no time at all. Unlike with Patrick's and a couple other characters that have the ACS trick. So now we're back in another master model chamber. However, it's going to be a little bit different than we did with the previous one. So after I actually collect the master model, I'm going to back out and warp back to the basement. So if you're probably wondering why we are collecting master models, it's because of a character who we haven't seen yet named the Chatbot, and we're going to actually see him at the very end of the run. But he's the reason we're collecting master models, to add to his collection basically, and he doesn't want to do it himself because he's lazy. Okay, I'm just kidding on that part. He's not lazy. He's just an underappreciated robot of Professor Calamitous, which is why we're teaming up with him. Speaking of that, we're now going to be playing as Jimmy Neutron. So we're going to be showing up a very cool script, a very cool trick. Here it comes right here with Jimmy. So it is required that everyone who runs this game should do this: intense crouching and doing acrobatics every time. It is not required, actually. I was just making a joke about that. But yeah, apparently spamming the continuously spamming the crouch button with Jimmy just makes him go down very fast, and it's one of the funniest ones in this entire game. So we're going to be going a little bit past this platform, do a roll cancel, skip some extra movements, and we're entering this pipe. It's a bit of a pain because of the area will pick you up. So right here, we're actually going to be doing this part casually. I'm not going to be doing it with rolls because you can see these blue things right here with the arrows. If I actually roll in between them, I will get stuck up in one of them, and I will be permanently stun locked. And I have to the only way to continue onwards is to go warp back to the basement and then enter into the level again and redo it all. So just instead, for safety, it's best to do it casually. There is a way to go out of bounds with it, however, it's slower and it's not even worth it. So now we're back inside the chamber, going to be doing Jimmy's. We're going to be saving Tommy Pickles this time. But this time he's from All Grown Up and not from Rugrats. So yeah, this game features many of the old characters from like the late 90s, from when Nick first aired to up until like 2006, when the game was starting to go into development. Alright, there we go. We collected Jimmy's. And now we're going to be collecting the last master model, which is of Timmy's in Factory Zone 2. So as I mentioned earlier, some characters have master model levels in more than one factory. And they have like different designs. So like Sam's in Zone 3 and Sam in Zone 2. Now it's Timmy Zone 1 and Timmy in Zone 2. And I believe those are the only ones that have like the same other than SpongeBob, Danny, and Tack, because theirs are different design levels. Because Tack's was more like a platforming one. Danny's is more of like a shooter that but you continue moving onwards, and SpongeBob is more like a sliding level. It's similar to how he would do it, like how he would slide in Battle for Bikini Bottom. Alright, so here it comes right here. Gonna die right here to end the animation of these platforms, because they can fall right here. Now over here is a little bit of some quick timing, and I have to be very careful because there's some, I'm not sure, but like it's like some purple particles. I don't know what it really is. It's probably purple goo, but we have to avoid it, and then we just reach to the end and we're done. So there we go. Now we're just going to be continuing onwards, and this time in this chamber we're going to be dealing with different enemies called wheelies, and this is how they are. Ooh, I got good RNG. So this one is a bit of an RNG one because of the first one you defeat. So you can see that there's two different types. There's the fire trucks and the dump trucks. So the dump trucks are actually like chargers. They charge towards you, and if they do massive damage and launch you up in the air, and you can't really move for a bit. However, and sometimes if it's the second one in your that you go against, you can actually get hit by it most of the time. But I got good RNG, so I ended up having to deal with it first rather than second, so it saved me just a little bit of extra time. Alright, so now we're going to be entering to Fairy World to stop Professor Calamitous from taking any more fairies, which he is doing by quote-unquote making a restaurant by serving up Krabby Patties because he's trying to get fairy gas. Kind of gross, but yeah. So we're just going to be going into Fairy World to save Jorgen von Strangle, and he'll put a stop to the rest of the Fairy World. And here actually comes a really cool trick with Out of Bounds right here. So I'm going to do a roll cancel, go past the death plane, and I'm going to angle myself at a right spot, and I'm going to be going out of bounds to skip some excess platforming. and this saves almost 40 seconds. So this is called Baby Jorgen Skip because it's a smaller version of another out of bounds we have called Jorgen Skip. However, that one's obsolete, and I'll go more into detail why. But this skips 3 wheels that actually pick you up or like move you around, and then we have this little area that like sucks you up. And what I'm doing right here is that I am currently just jumping, and I'm having my second jump stored in, so I can go up a little bit higher. And I'm gonna go for a trigger right here to get a respawn, or land on the platform if I'm lucky. All right, I got on the platform, which is very good. That's a bit difficult to get. Alright, so we're just going to be careful right here. Now we're going to be doing some more excess platforming. So this is just a simple like completing the level as quickly as I can. With the exception of having some bigger movement. Alright, here we go. I'm going to hit a trigger outside. Oh, I didn't. Guess I wasn't able to. I was not at the right spot. Oh, I almost fell. Alright, I'm going to go for a 2 cycle. Nice. So, it's possible to 1 cycle. Oh, dang. That has never happened before. Only in the marathon. Oh, dang it. Alright, there we go. Now I'm going to be doing the same thing I did in the beginning of Bikini Bottom, where I was out of the pipe and I was able to store in my jump with the boost. And I have the green particle effect again, so now my speed is double. And I'm just going to be navigating right here. Now, I do want to mention this about this level itself. So this level in regular any percent is different than I am doing it right now. So normally you would actually go out of bounds from the very beginning to the very end. However, I just wanted to do this like to fully show off the level and for marathon safety, because that out of bounds is a bit difficult, and because it's a bit boring as well, because it's 2 minutes of just seeing the background change from pink to black, and then to an image as well. And it really looked kind of boring, so I really wanted to just show off this level, just to show like how much of a unique design it has and a reference to probably some Very Odd Parents stuff. I don't really know because I don't know too much about Very Odd Parents. Alright, so I'm just going to do some more platforming, jump on these trampolines right here, avoid these spikes. Oh, that was so close. Now we're going to go on a slide here. And I'm going to have the speed of the slide stored in my jumps right here. But I'm not going to do it 1 time, but a 2nd time. So we're doing this, and now we're at the very end. So we have some more platforming, and I'm going to do another out of bounds at the end, which is pretty cool. It's going to help us skip an auto-saving segment and some excess platforming. It's going to save over 10 seconds, which is very, very good. Okay, so we're just going to continue onwards. Now from here, I'm just going to angle myself correctly, and now I'm out of bounds, and I'm going to have to be quiet right here because I need to time this part. So I'm going to be quiet for a couple seconds. Dang it, I did not skip the auto-saving. I was too far. I'd like to thank. Cutoffs are very funny in this game, in my opinion. Alright, so now we're entering into the final level, which is Professor Calamitus's lair. Which, yes, his lair is mentioned in this game. I don't know if it's mentioned in the show, but he has a lair. Now this lair, the level itself is different compared to the ones that we've gone to earlier. So this is actually a shooting level, unlike the rest, which were like mostly platformers, and it behaves much differently. So we're currently in this giant mech suit. It's called a mech suit, and I also bought an upgrade for it. And this is actually so I can shoot off these missiles right here. So I have actual goo missiles, which deal the most amount of damage in this level. And it's very useful because we're going to be destroying more generators right here to progress onwards. I just have to be very careful so I don't get hit by enemies too often, even their missiles, because that missile right there was an orange one, and those charge towards you, and they can do a lot of damage. You can sometimes get crit hits, and they're unfortunate because there's not that many checkpoints throughout this level. So you can be backtracked by over a minute and a half. So this one is just simple like movement. There's not really much else to skip with this level. There is a skip, however, in this level as well. However, it is so hard RTA wise that the only run that has it is the world record one. And it saves 40 seconds, which skips almost half or like a third of the entire level itself. However, it's difficult because you have to do pause buffering, and you have to angle yourself out of bounds. So even though I mentioned that out of bounds you can have full movement, it doesn't work on it with these levels themselves. Because if you were to try to go out of bounds on this level, you won't have any movement with your mech suit. So if it falls down, like per se, if it falls down going upwards, it will continue going upwards until it's wrapped back up. And that makes the skip much more difficult because you do the out of bounds 4 times, and make sure you're angled at the right spot or else the run's over. Plus it's late into the run, so at that point it's a bit riskier. So right here I'm going to continue onwards, and I'm going to be destroying these specific enemies. They're called Big Tin robots because you can see right there I picked up some ammo for my missiles. And these are the only enemies in the level that give us our ammo. And it's all RNG dependent, so you can see I'm always getting 1. However, I can sometimes get 2 or even 3. But unfortunately I can also get none. So I always do this to get some excess ammo because I'm going to be using it all throughout the run or all throughout this level. And alright, so like right there I got 3, which is very, very good. And I'm going to angle myself over here, shoot that generator on top, and boom. So let's continue onwards, destroy this generator. There we go. Okay. Yeah, unfortunately this level has quite a lot of auto-scrollers, so it is a bit boring here and there. But you can just do this as practice to like shoot just shoot them from having these boost things right here. I like to call them I like to think they're water balloons because they kind of look like them, and I used to think they were like all my life. So I'm just gonna be destroying these lasers right here and these tanks from shooting out any more projectiles, so I won't get hit. Be very careful. Okay. All right, good. And then right here I got a helper generator. Thankfully I didn't need it because I was not too low on health. Nice, I got the ammo. Alright, so here comes another use of RNG. So I mentioned about how big tins are in this level, so there actually can be 2 that spawn in right here. Ooh, okay, okay, this is good RNG. So even though I had both of the robots spawn in, they were not in my way, so that helped me save, just so that it didn't cost me any time at all, which is very good. So again, we're back with another auto-scroller, dealing with these tanks. A little bit of a pain having to do this several times, but it's still kind of fun in my opinion because it really shows that this level has like an entire like factory-ish layer type to it. Alright, so we're just going to continue onwards. Sometimes I wonder like just how much Professor Calamitous like has time just to do all of this, and how he even knew that like we were going to be doing this. This is actually what amazes me the most, because does he have to go through all of this just to like go to like a certain point in his own lab? Alright, so right here I'm going to have to be very careful because I have to hit a trigger which is in the middle, and if I don't hit it, okay, there we go, I hit it. So the screen jittered a little bit right there, and this causes the rest of this part of the level to load in, and if I didn't do that, I would have actually been stuck right here, and I would have to fall and then respawn to where the 2 generators were at the earlier on in the level, and which would cost me over a whole minute and a half, which is unfortunate, and I have had it a couple of times. Thankfully, we found a way to prevent it, so that's very good. So let's just continuously block these water balloons, and then I'm gonna shoot down this helicopter right here to get some ammo. Nice, I got 2 ammos. You'll get ammo every time. You just it's sometimes random if you get either just 2 or 1, or maybe you just get 2. But you always get ammo from it. And nice, I got ammo from that big tin as well. Man, I have a lot of ammo. Oh wow, I'm actually really good right now with it. Oh wow, I don't have to worry much about it. Okay. Now, I'm actually going to be giving you guys a little bit of a good fun fact about this game, and it's actually with the background music. So, another key thing to know with this game is its composer. So, the composer of this game is none other than Mick Gordon himself. You may know Mick from being from creating the music for Doom Eternal, Doom 2016, the Wolfenstein games, and even another game that released around the same time as this game, El Tigre. So there's your fun fact for the day, or your fun fact about this game, is that Mick Gordon, the composer who made it for Doom Eternal recently, made it for a Nicktoons game released in 2007 where you defeat Toybots and you have to eliminate a bunch of tanks and go inside of a giant mech suit. Alright, so now we're at the final part, and I have to be very careful because right here can lead to a soft block. But I'm going to be very careful. Alright, I'm just going to angle myself correctly, avoid these sponge bots. Okay. Nice. Okay, we did not get that one. Okay, let's be very, very careful. Come on. Let me destroy this one for safety. Alright, we are seconds away from calling time. Spamming our missiles. And time! We are done. That is Nicktoons Attack of the Toybots, any percent. So now we have stopped Professor Calamitous from becoming the biggest genius.
Away from calling time. And time.
Hey, he stole that line from me. What the heck? Why do you steal that from me? Alright, so we have now entered in the biggest genius studio, and we are currently done with everything. So now we're gonna let this cutscene play, and he's gonna announce the winner of the biggest genius.
Listen, shoulder pads. Just get on with it and tell me I'm the winner.
Patience, Professor Calamitous. He's about to announce it right now, and it is.
Genius is the Chadbot.
And there's the Chadbot. So he's the reason we're collecting all the master models, and he's living up with the whole Chad thing, because you'll see right here he has the Chad chin. True Giga Chad himself. It's very cool. So yeah, so now Chadbot ended up becoming the biggest genius, which is very, very good for him. And he done it by using Krabby Patties, Ghost Energy, and Fairies. And before you say that he copied what Professor Calamitous did, he ended up having one extra advantage, which was creating the best action figure collection in the whole universe. And he thanks us in the end.
Thank you.
And the end of this cutscene is kind of funny because Chadbot gets to have his own revenge on Professor Calamitous from what he did. So I'm gonna go ahead and let that play out real quick.
Not only do you get this,
Well, actually, first we have to wait for him to get his prize to be announced first, so let's give it a little bit of time.
And combust near an open flame, but you also receive your very own Professor Calamitous Immobilization Bot. And
Okay, so here comes the best subtitle in the entire game.
It took me years to grow it.
Cry of dismay. Alright, so that is it with Nicktoons Attack of the Toybots. So, I'm going to give some shoutouts real quick. I want to give a big shout out and a huge thank you to the Nicktoons speedrunning community. We are a small community, but we still work our times to improve each of these games. So, we improved the ones for the Nicktoons Unite series, as well as the Nicktoons Kart Racers series. So, if you are interested in trying out any of those games, you can feel free to join in the Discord server, which is linked on the SRC profiles. On all of the games, and you'll be able to join in and talk with us if you want to try out the games. If you do want to try out this one, you can join in, and we'll be happy to help you. This game is very fun in my opinion. One of my favorite games of all time. Made so many memories with it. I'm just happy that the speedrun itself was able to be showcased here. I want to give a big thank you again to Obscur-a-thon for accepting this game into the marathon. Very happy to show off its obscure gameplay. So, I want to give some shout outs to some runners. First off, shout out to Schnurt, our glitch hunter in the community. Helped us find almost all of the tricks that was used in this run. I want to give a big thank you to Storage and the Only Stick Boy for being my inspirations for running this game. Also, there's Mick Gordon right there. And I want to give a big thank you to all the other Toybots runners, active or inactive, for help just like putting some runs on the board, and it's very, very helpful. So if you are interested in trying out this game, you can try it out on a Wii or a PS2 or a PS3 and Wii U. Now, we have a tutorial in the works, is almost finished, so if you do want to end up trying out this game, you can feel free to do it then. But other than that, that is all for today with Nicktoons Attack of the Toybots. Huge thank you again to Obscur-a-thon for letting me show off this game and its very great gameplay. Thank you guys so much for watching this, and enjoy your rest of the time here at Obscur-a-thon. Thank you so much. Bye bye.